Hello viewers, welcome back to Daily Retro. Today we've got another episode of retro gaming news and additions for you guys. This is our Christmas special. Sorry for no Santa hat, but that's just the way I like to do things. So we've just come back from Birmingham Gaming Market on Sunday. Got lots to talk about, lots of people met, which is really nice to see as well. But yeah, I've missed out this episode for sort of November. Just due to busyness, to be honest, with the little one's first birthday. I can't believe that year's just gone already. Everything seems to have flown by the past year. The video output has not been as what I expected, but it's still been a lot of fun. But yeah, we've got absolutely loads of pickups because there are 2 months worth to go through, and there's a few bits of news. Not a lot today, but yeah, it's interesting news nonetheless. So without further ado, we'll get into the news and then we'll get into some pickups and some sort of channel update after that. So first up is something I saw on Instagram by Humble Bazooka. These guys make like custom controller adapters for old consoles. So this time round it's a 3DO Panasonic Bluetooth adapter. They've done similar adapters for other consoles. I can't name them to be honest, but I think there's one for the Saturn. Which is actually relevant because the next piece of news involves the Saturn as well. But yeah, these guys have already released this item actually. I saw it back in October for release in December, and I think it is now available for purchase, so the link will be down in the description for that. Again, this is very similar to products that you see from other companies where you put a Bluetooth adapter into your console and then you can use very sort of universal Bluetooth controllers in your old console, such as the Switch Pro controller or an Xbox controller, things like that, or even a console specific Bluetooth controller. So yeah, there's a lot of options with what you can do with it. I think the price point is pretty low, as it always is with Humble Bazooka as well, so that's really nice to see. So the second piece of news is kind of related to controllers as well. So Retrobit, who are quite a sort of well-known company within the retro hardware community, they have teased a Sega Saturn wireless controller, 2.4 GHz, very similar to their Mega Drive or Genesis controllers that they've done before. But I saw these were teased a couple months back, maybe more recent than that. But those will be coming out soon. If I find a link to purchase or pre-order, I'll leave a link for that in the description. But again, it's nice to see that controllers are still being made for these old consoles, and the Sega Saturn seems to be getting a lot of love recently, which is great to see. I'm not an owner of the Sega Saturn. People tell me I should be, but yeah, it's definitely a console that's got a lot of community backing, and that's really nice to see always. So finally on the news front, that's actually a bit of news closer to home, which is nice to see. So the Retro Bear, or Russ, he's sort of been plugging his wife's retro restoration and repair website. It's due to launch in January, I think he said. But the flyers were at Birmingham Gaming Market very recently. Hopefully this will focus enough. But as you can see, it's called Retro Repair Bear. And Retro Repair Bear are contactable through Russ or the website, obviously. And yeah, that's due to launch in January. You can drop your consoles or other things you want modded at Hidden Chess Gaming. That is in Brearley Hill, in sort of southwest of Birmingham. So if you're nearby, then it might save you the hassle of posting stuff, especially at the moment, which is really difficult because Royal Mail are just striking constantly. So everything's taking a very long time to get posted. And as a result, other companies are sort of bearing that burden as well because people are seeking alternatives. So yeah, can you drop your consoles off there in person, have it picked up because they're very local to there, and have your console repaired or modded there, which is something I'm actually looking to do myself, is get my fantastic N64 RGB modded very soon, just so it has a better video output. But yeah, from what I've seen and chatted to Claire, Russ's wife, about it, a very reasonable pricing. She's got a lot of experience with especially tapes and older 8-bit consoles, so that sort of fills me with confidence that she knows what she's doing with slightly newer 16-bit, say. And yeah, it will be really nice to see the outcome of that, and I'll be sure to share how my console comes out of that. So I was going to do the pickups sort of chronologically, but I think it makes sense to talk about Birmingham Gaming Market because that was the most recent event and it's fresh in my memory. So I saw a lot of tubers there. Apologies if I miss anyone, but I saw Tutti, who gave me a great deal on one of his stalls, Eddie Rollercore, Russ, obviously, Retro Bear, Paul Ink Northerner, I've never met before, and Big Game Al, again, who I've never met before. Really cool guys. And yeah, it was really nice to see a good sort of attendance from the UK retro tubers. Yeah, it was a really good event. I was only there just over an hour, to be honest. I still got to work around the little ones' nap times. But I was looking for Mega Drive and PlayStation 1 stuff mainly. And unfortunately I was only able to find the PlayStation stuff, so that's all I got. But yeah, without further ado, we'll move on to what we got at Birmingham Gaming Market. So ahead of time, I spoke to Eddie Roller X-Core about what he was selling, because he's trying to save for a house deposit, so I thought it was in my best interest to sort of get games from him, because stuff from him will be in very good condition as well. So I sort of sent him a list. It was only a small list of 4 games, but he came back and said he had this one. So yeah, that is Croc, The Legend of Gobos. So this game has obviously sort of been in Spyro's shadow for, well, pretty much since it released, a sort of 3D platformer. But this one has sort of an emotional attachment for me. So this is one of the games I played on the PlayStation 1 in Bristol Children's Hospital when my brother was 5 and having a open heart surgery. So whilst I was sort of waiting for my parents to sort of spend time with Jack, I'd spend time in the sort of kids waiting room playing this game. So it has a lot of meaning for me. And yeah, it'd be really nice to get back into this. That kind of leads me on to a point that I'm just going to talk about briefly, which is I've recently replaced the the disc drive in my PlayStation 1. I have an older SCPH 1002 model, fat model, but I realised recently you can use the PS1, the sort of later Slim Edition console drives in that older console. I think it's called the KSM 440 BAM, and those drives are about £20 on Z Labs in the UK. So I picked one up, replaced it. It wasn't as easy as I thought, but it works perfectly, which is nice to see. I'm by no means an expert modder. It was kind of plug and play, but it just had that little sort of adjustment of the plastic, sort of the disc sort of plastic covering. So yeah, it made sense to then go and buy some PlayStation 1 titles that have some meaning for me. So yeah, that is the first one we got at the market. Second one is from Tutti's stall. So this was actually listed for £5, but that is NHL Face Off. As you can see a bit closer there. I'm hoping the camera will refocus back because it's been a bit sluggish the last couple of days. But yeah, just a really cool ice hockey 3D game that I've had my eye on for a while. It was listed for £5 on Tutti's stall, but he said give me a couple quid and it's yours. So thank you for that, mate. Yeah, it's nice to sort of get those deals when you know people. So yeah, looking forward to playing that. And then finally at the market we just got another game actually that is sort of got an emotional attachment for me, that I've been looking for a good copy for a while because it is such a good game. And that is just the first Spyro the Dragon. So Spyro the Dragon is just obviously a 3D platformer, but it's another game that I played in the Bristol Children's Hospital at the same time I was playing Croc. Very much a kiddie orientated platformer game, but yeah, it has a lot of love from a lot of people. And yeah, this one's in beautiful condition. and that was £20, so it's probably the most I spent that day. Eddie, sorry, gave me Croc for £5, which is, I'm pretty sure that's like half what it's worth, and NHL Face Off I obviously talked the price about. But yeah, that's a really nice purchase, and can't wait to get playing those games. So I'll continue the theme with the rest of it. So there's been a couple of sort of purchases from retro game shops, Doorway to Darkness in Doncaster and Retro Games HQ in Swindon. So I'll do the Doorway to Darkness first. This was ordered on their website just because it's over 2.5 hour drive for me, so it's not worth it in a single day. So I do sort of message James and say, can you send me pictures of the condition of what you've got on your website, because I'm interested in it, and he always does very promptly and always gives me a good deal as well. So just a couple of games, not massively expensive. So this one was £7. This is NHL Rock the Rink. Yeah, the PlayStation 1 is the only sort of platform I could find this in the UK, I think. And yeah, again, it's very similar to NHL Face Off sort of style, but this one is sort of more exaggerated in, you've got more like fighting in the ice hockey game, and that's something I really enjoy. So that's a lesser seen title, let's say. So yeah, looking forward to giving that one a go. And then lastly, from Doorway to Darkness, we just got a Nintendo DS game, which is Worms Open Warfare. So this is not an expensive game. It's probably only worth like £2 or £3, but I think I paid £3.99 for it, and it's in beautiful condition. So yeah, it's worth having. I've got the second Open Warfare on DS, so it made sense to have the first. Really nice to play handheld games. So yeah, really enjoyed playing those. And then finally, from the physical shop front, I've actually got a little list here from Pete, who owns Retro Games HQ in Swindon, as to the prices. Got a game that I have had my eye on for a while that you don't see too often in other game shops, and it's a Mega Drive ice hockey game that is actually really good. I've enjoyed playing it so far, and that is Wayne Gretzky's NHLPA All Stars. So this is actually surprisingly good graphically for a Mega Drive game. Not sort of a pure top-down like you get in NHL 94 and such. Not sure what year this was released. Maybe a couple years. Oh no, 1995. But yeah, this one was in really nice condition, and I got it for £8, I think. So £8 for a really nice condition Mega Drive game. I'm not going to say no to that. So thank you for that, Pete. And then we'll sort of go from oldest to newest. So again, we've got a couple of PlayStation 1 games. Again, these are games that sort of have meaning to me. I'm not a mega PlayStation 1 collector as such. I just pick up the games that I have memories of. So the first one is Colin McRae Rally. I was a bit annoyed actually. Yeah, this is a cheap game, but I dropped the case and smashed one of the corners, unfortunately. Fortunately, it was one of the cheaper purchases, obviously. I think it was only £3.99, which is not too bad. And I think it's quite nice, actually. You've got a little memory sticker on the back there where it was sold in HMV at one point in time. And you can see it was sold for £44.99 or £45 in English. But yeah, Colin McRae Rally, classic rally game, and I've had a quick go, and it always feels really fun to play. I love my rally, so yeah, I couldn't say no to that. And the stickers definitely sort of add a sort of nostalgia to it. And then secondly, or lastly on the PlayStation front actually for today, is an essential purchase, and that is Gran Turismo 1. So Gran Turismo 1 was a pretty groundbreaking game at the time. One of the first games to use the DualShock controller, I think. So you could have sort of more dialed in steering. And yeah, a game I definitely remember playing and absolutely loving. A very difficult game at times, but yeah, again, really nice condition and only $6.99, so that was a pretty good price in my mind. And then lastly, we've got a PlayStation 3 title. So unfortunately, this has probably been in CEX at one point because there's some sticker sort of residue in the usual places that CEX put it. But anyway, that's Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. I can't remember whose channel talked about this recently. It might have been Retro Ghetto, saying that this DLC for the first Red Dead Redemption is no longer on any sort of e-platform, so not on the PlayStation Store. So you can only buy physical of it, and that made sense for me to buy it physical. I think it was only, let's see, $4.99, which is a very good price, and something that to note is probably going to go up in value over the years because of that reasoning I just gave. I've already had a quick sort of hour and a half play on it, and yeah, really fun. I think if you were to download it, you could use your sort of saved profile and continue where you were, sort of weapons wise, from the career mode of the first game. But this doesn't. But it doesn't really matter because they just give you the weapons you should have for fighting off a zombie horde anyway. So yeah, it's not really a big deal. And yeah, it's really enjoying it so far. It is very over the top, which Red Dead Redemption always has been, and one of my favourite games ever made, to be honest, so couldn't say no. So next up, we've just got some eBay purchases. So there's been, in my mind, there's been a sort of a nag sort of to buy a set of these. So they are game guides for RPG games that I absolutely love. So those were Dragon Age game guides and Kingdoms of Amalur. So yeah, these were relatively inexpensive, to be honest. I think this one was the most expensive of the paperbacks, and that is Dragon Age Origins. It's a Prima guide, as you can see. You make amazing game guides, but very thick and very good condition. I think it was either £8 or £9, but yeah, very detailed, and one of my favourite RPGs ever made, so I couldn't not have it. I already have the Prima guide for Inquisition, the third one, so it made sense to have the first one. And then, can you guess what's next? So the next one is the official game guide for Dragon Age 2. I have no idea why this wasn't a Prima guide, but Prima didn't do it, so yeah, this is a Piggyback Interactive game guide, which is the official game guide for Dragon Age 2, but still very thick, very heavy, very detailed, and has some beautiful artwork in there, as you can see right there. But yeah, I really enjoy going through those when I'm playing Dragon Age or any RPG to mention. And then finally is probably my favourite of all of these game guide purchases, and that is for Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. This is a hardback, and it is beautiful. It's by Future Press, and it's very heavy, extremely detailed game guide as well. You can just feel the quality of the pages. Yeah, much better than the Dragon Age ones, to be honest. But yeah, one of my favourite RPGs ever made, so it made sense to have the official game guide for that. This was for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 version. Obviously, there has been a re-release of that game on the PlayStation 4, etc. But this one is sort of the most sought after because it's for the original game. But for this purchase, I think it was £16, which I don't think is too bad for a hardback, to be honest. I think it cost about 20 when it was new. So yeah, it was a decent saving on that. But yeah, really chuffed with that. And I'm actually playing through Re-Reckoning DLC at the moment, and still absolutely love that game. I can't recommend it enough, and recommend you do as well. So penultimately, we've just got a couple of pickups that I got from work people. So this is actually from a workmate who just sort of messaged me on Facebook and said, I'm having a clear out, do you want this Mega Drive game? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. So that is Cool Spot on the Mega Drive. I know absolutely nothing about this game, but I've had a quick play on the Mega Drive through the RetroTink, and it does surprisingly play pretty well. Just a platformer where you sort of run, jump and shoot. But yeah, really nice condition actually. Hang tab's really good. It's obviously been kept somewhere very safe over the years, and yeah, definitely hasn't been used in at least 20 odd years, so that was a nice gift. And then finally from work we got, I should mention I sometimes think it's a bit unnecessary for people to say not what they've sold in order to buy other stuff. So I sold my Pokemon 2DS, the boxed version, just because it was a game that didn't really have any nostalgia for me, whereas this 2DS does. So this is the 2DS for Mario Kart, and this is the one I bought years ago when I was sort of getting back into handheld gaming, and I do remember obviously playing Pokemon Moon, I think it was, on it, but this was the actual console I had when I was a little bit younger. So yeah, this was only £40 I think, which I think is a fairly good price for a good condition console, and obviously had Mario Kart 7 pre-installed as well. That actually came with a nice official Nintendo, I think you can see the label, the official 2DS case. And yeah, the console was in really nice condition as well. A few finger marks, but that's nothing untoward on it. But yeah, impressed with that, and my voice is starting to go because I've been talking so long. So finally on the pickup front is something that I've been talking about for such a long time now. It feels like it was never going to come, but it has. So you can probably tell by my reaction as to what it is. I pre-ordered it last December, so this is a year in the waiting. Yeah, there's no other words for it really. I was speechless when I received it, and it's even more beautiful in person. So that is the Analogue Pocket, which for those who don't know is an FPGA remake of Nintendo Game Boy. It does play other things, obviously it's an FPGA device, but it just has such a beautiful screen. I can't stress how good the screen is on it. Has loads of other good features as well, really nice sound. I think I'm playing screen's on quite dim at the moment because I was playing it in bed, but it's just on Mario Golf Advance I think at the moment. But yeah, it plays incredible. It's honestly the best way to play anything Game Boy related, and yeah, I've been really impressed with everything about it recently. Yeah, that $200 purchase a year ago was definitely worth the wait. So yeah, I won't go into too much detail on that just because I might do a whole video on the Pocket as well. And the only other sort of companion with it was the hard case for it, which actually will make some of you laugh. So I didn't realise that this case actually only goes together in one orientation. If you flip the sort of plastic on the front, it doesn't come away very easily. So guess what I did? I put the console the wrong way around. Could not get it out. Literally took me about 20 minutes or so to get that out, just by using some of my sort of prying tools from my electronics toolkit. So yeah, do not get that the wrong way around. It's basically got to go this way around, so with the Pocket text on the left, and then it has actually got sort of hinges on the back to hold your console sort of tight and snug in the rear. So it makes a really nice display cabinet for your Analogue Pocket. Yeah, really chuffed with that, and yeah, I honestly can't recommend them enough. If you've got one on pre-order, you're going to be amazed by it, and if you haven't and you like your handheld gaming, then you've got to get one. It's just as simple as that. It's the best handheld device I think I've I've ever played. Yeah, I'd recommend it more than anything. So yeah, that's it for the pickups, guys. Hope you've enjoyed listening to my rambles about what I've picked up in the past couple of months. There's been an awful lot to go through, as you can see. Yeah, there's been obviously a backlog. I'll explain why. I explained why briefly in my game room tour, but you may not have watched that, so I'll link that if you haven't watched that before. But basically, my little one started nursery end of October, and anyone who knows anything about kids, when they start nursery, everyone in the household gets ill really badly. And last week I had flu so bad. Yeah, I've had about five days off work basically in space of 3 weeks, when I usually only maybe have 1 day a year, because I'm generally a healthy person. But yeah, it's crazy how much they bring home. So videos have had to sort of go on the back burner as ideas for days like today, where I've actually got my voice back and I can actually get out of bed. I barely even made it to Birmingham Gaming Market, to be honest. I was running on codeine that day, to be honest. But yeah, I felt well enough to sort of walk around a little bit, but not much more than that. I was absolutely shattered just from walking that half a mile from where we parked to the gaming market and back. But yeah, that's been a bit of a bummer recently, and obviously family comes first. You've got the little one that's obviously been ill as well, so they've got to come first. But yeah, sending Christmas and New Year's greetings to everyone who's watching. I hope to do maybe one more video before the end of the year. But if you've got any questions on what I've talked about today or what I've picked up, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon for another video. Cheers.